Hi, welcome to the Shelly Studio. Today I'm doing my little mini abstracts for Abstract August. And I'm starting with day 21. I actually have 6 of them in this video today. Hopefully, 18-19 minutes isn't too long. They're pretty quick. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so I just stuck a layer of Titan Buff down. You can see a little bit of the crusty bits from the plate on there, which is okay. And then I decided I would do a couple of layers. And did I tell you the word prompt? The word prompt is wire. I didn't want to use a real wire, so I'm just sticking some thread down and thought maybe it would look kind of like a wire on the print. And I'm trying, it's really stiff thread. This is like, and yeah, it is thread. There we go. Just touching it down a little bit. Hopefully you won't be able to see my fingerprints in there. Some little stuff stuck there. Alright, so there's one layer, and I figured I would do a second layer, so I'm adding some red. And it actually ends up going on kind of globby. I was hoping for something a little more smooth, but I think it's all the paint building up on my brayer is a little causing it to be a little uneven. I'm just going to put that thread on there again and do another layer. I ran the brayer too many times and lifted it all off. So I got to do it again. And maybe that's partly why it's all lumpy and bumpy. Real simple. And that's day 21. Alright, so the next day, the word is plant. I don't know why I did that. I guess I thought maybe the yellow would stay in the middle, make some interesting pattern, but it doesn't really. Once I get this dark green over it. So I went out and I grabbed some plants. And I really haven't done much jelly printing with plants. I should try that more. I wanted to center it, so I put a card underneath so I could line it up. And then I did this. And it's kind of lumpy. I didn't push it in far enough. I just got a little bit on there, but that's okay. And pull the rest off. And we'll stamp it down. Well, oh yeah. I decided to put some yellow on there. Make sure it would lift off. So I wasn't real happy with the yellow, so I add a layer. Has a little bit more orange in it. And then I decided I needed to have a little white, so I'm just pulling out a Posca and adding a few lines of white for highlights. It's a plant, but it still looks abstract, right? These ones aren't. This one and the next one, well, and the one after that maybe, aren't as abstract as they could be, I guess. So that's day 22. Alright, this one, the word prompt was soup. I hadn't really done any painting on the gel plate much and doing it from there, so I just decided to do a bowl of soup. An abstract bowl of soup, right? Because I don't know what kind of soup that is. Split pea? Not very appetizing. But I like how it turns out in the end. I have a couple of different shades of blue. Oh, and I decided to throw in a little bit of pink here and there. Make the soup a little more appetizing. I don't know. Pink make it more appetizing. It's hard to remember I'm working front to back, so everything I put on is going in the background and may not even be seen. Okay, so I let that dry, and now I'm putting on some Titan Buff so that I can print it onto the paper. You don't see it, but I do rub this really well. I edited it down for time, but I really rubbed and rubbed. And I look at it and I check it. Alright, there it is. See, it's kind of cool, right? Real painterly. Day 23. Soup. Alright, the next one, I decided to go with the painting idea. The word prompt was divide, and the first thing that came to mind was the continental divide. Probably because I'd crossed it somewhere recently, so yeah, it prompted me. And I remembered back when I was young, we went to Yellowstone National Park, and you cross the Continental Divide in the park. And right at the Continental Divide, there is a small body of water full of lily pads. And it's called Isa Lake. It's spelled Isa Lake. I-S-A. Lake is a lake. Just in case you were doubting it was a lake. Anyway, so I decided for divide, I would paint Is a Lake, and that's where the Continental Divide is in Yellowstone. And remember, I'm painting front to back, so I did the whites and then added some yellow. Now I'm adding the green. And then I'll add a couple of shades of blue. Oh, apparently a couple of shades of green too. But it was really full of lily pads. In fact, if you Google it or whatever, you hardly see the water at all. At least how I remember it. There was so many lily pads that you could hardly see the water. In my print, you see a lot more water. I don't know about abstract, but it's very impressionistic. I mean, if I didn't tell you they were lily pads, you might not know what they were. Maybe. I want to make sure there's no areas that are going to not have blue or green. And once it's dry, I think, yeah, more of the Titan buff. So we can print it. Oh, and I think that's the one I dated incorrectly. I wrote the 23rd. It's actually the 24th. I went back and scribbled over it. Yeah, you can see that. Alright, so day 25, the word prompt is gem. And I thought about it for a little while and decided I would use like jewel tones. Gem, jewel, it works, right? So we're just going to do a few layers with some of my stencils and some jewel tones. Just real simple. I actually quite like this one. Tempted to outline some of the stenciling. So I've got that green on there, and now we're going to go for some blue. Just picking a different stencil. Trying to center it a little bit. Just cleaning off the gel plate a little bit. Alright, so the next one, we're going to do some purple. I have to add some white to that purple because it's so dark. Sorry, I'm kind of off the screen there. Alright, so I want to put the crown, you know, like the crown jewel. Trying to figure out how to do that. That stencil's huge. And my table's small. There we go. And that stencil, that spot, that crown is a little bit bigger than my gel plate, so I just use the edges and get all the points of the crown. And there it is. Gem. Now it's day 25. I think I have it written wrong there too, because I got out of sync for a minute. Okay, so we've got one more for today, and it is day 26, and the prompt was drip. So I'm using my Liquitex white acrylic ink. I've had it for a long time. It's got like, I don't know, chunky bits in it. So I had to let it dry overnight. So this one dried overnight before I started playing with it. And I figured I would just do some stencil layering under it. And I really like the texture I got. I wish the drips weren't even there. They kind of overwhelm the whole thing. So I do the purple honeycomb, and then I take the blue, and I think that one I do the Tim Holtz. I don't know if it's grungy holes. I don't know what the name of that stencil is, but now I just lifted the stuff out of the center of the stencil, so you've got the little circle marks. And I've let it dry in between each layer. And then here I'm going to take this one that's got some uneven square shapes and just adding some yellow through it. Alright, so I let that dry completely, and I'm going to put black down and lift it with black. So I do rub this one really well as well. And it's really sticking to the thing. And there we have drip. I actually add more white because those drips don't look like drips anymore. And I add more at the bottom. I don't know. Just felt like it, I guess. But there we have it. Well, I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you liked it, leave me a comment or a thumbs up. Have an awesome day. Thanks for watching.